welcome. We are live.
Hey, hey,
Welcome,
hey.
everyone. Welcome, everyone. I'm Ebony L. Green, the Ratchet Sage, and I'm here with Fulei Ngangmuta, the Resourceful Liberator. And today we are diving into a powerful and necessary conversation. Why discomfort is not a call to silence accountability. Your discomfort does not mean that you do not get to be accountable. But Fulei, say hello to everybody.
Hey, everyone. Here I am, Fulei, the Resourceful Liberator. Yeah, we're here to break down why feeling uncomfortable when being held accountable doesn't mean the conversation should stop. It shouldn't stop. Okay. In fact, it's a sign that something real is being addressed. And I'm so here for this conversation because I think too often we choose to run from discomfort, not knowing that it can actually be the gateway for our breakthrough. I know that word gets used a lot, but understand me. It can be the gateway for us to move into what's next, but it depends on how we respond. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Well, let's get into it. There is this idea. I think we're really, I'll set the stage for y'all. Like, why did me and Fulei end up even getting into this conversation? Well, first of all, because the Ratchet Stage has been running wild in these streets, and I'm not ashamed of it. I need y'all to understand this. About a few weeks ago, I posted something saying, listen, this is who I am. This is how I get down. You do not like it, block me. Like, it's an open invitation to block. If you think you might be discouraged by something I say, if you think that I might call out the failing system that you're operating with and you don't want to hear about it, you don't want to fix it, your best chance is to block me, because I can't speak on something I don't see. But should I see it, I'm going to call out a failing system everywhere I go. It's happening. Okay. And I realized through the shenanigans and the systems rant I had to go through yesterday, I didn't have to go through it. I chose to go through it. Let's be clear. You got to be really clear about your information and like what you're saying to yourself too. But there is this idea that you can say or do anything online without consequences. Now, we already know this happens with people who want to be bullies and trolls, but we don't realize how much we perpetrate this too, even when we're trying to be good people. And we mistake our anonymity online for safety, but they are not the same. You can still catch these hands. Watch who you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when someone calls something out or calls you in, the instinct is to feel attacked rather than for you to sit the fuck down and reflect. That doesn't happen. That's not the natural reaction, because that's not what whiteness has taught us. That's not what America has taught us. I'm not going to go into all of that. But what I will say is, I think it's a failing system for people to mistake anonymity for safety. I think it's a failing system for you to think that you can say and do whatever you want online and in your business and in your relationships without consequences. And just because a consequence is presented to you, that's not an attack. It's an opportunity to reflect. And in recognizing that, I think we uncovered this myth of anonymity that people think they have online in these social media streets.
Look, I need you to run that back because I don't think people were listening, especially when you were saying that there are consequences for the way that you are out here, not only in your business, in your personal life, in your relationship. I need that pinned. People need to remember that. Remember that as we move through this conversation because, look, right? Anonymity gives people a false sense of freedom to act without responsibility. And we ain't here for that. Okay. Me as the resourceful liberator, I'm not about not taking responsibility. I'm not. Okay. Discomfort doesn't equate to harm. That's really the big crux of it, where a lot of us don't want to just sit in that because we do not understand that just because you are uncomfortable or something causes discomfort doesn't mean that it's harmful. So because of that, there's a whole lot of things that happen. I can get into it. I won't right now. Well, this is what the conversation's for, that we will. But this is actually an opportunity to examine why you're feeling defensive and how you might be contributing to the problem. That's really the issue here, right? When we don't want to sit in our lack, in your words, we don't want to sit in our discomfort. We don't want to just sit and actually process what is actually happening here. We have become so reactive that we don't know how to respond. And all discomfort does not need to be responded to in the same way. So yeah, let's continue and dig in. Let's go. You're muted.
I sure am. I was sitting there like mesmerized by what you said. But like when you think about real-time accountability is not a thing when people are silent, right? So if there's no one calling out what could be harmful or what they perceive as not useful, harmful, abusive, If no one is calling that out, then there's no reason for real-time accountability. So the issue comes up when someone is not silent. Someone did what we tell everyone to do. You see something, say something. Show up for your fellow man. We all say this stuff, but do we really mean it? Because when accountability shows up for us, I have found that humans end up feeling exposed and they just want the issue to disappear. They're not interested in repair. They're not interested in, well, first you got to reflect to even figure out what is to be repaired. Okay.
Say that.
And the reflection might have to be two-part, right? You got to reflect with yourself first, and then you might need to reflect with whomever you impacted, whomever sharing with you that you might need to be accountable. And sometimes the person who's actually not being silent and sharing with you where you need to be accountable isn't even the person that you harmed. So you might have a third party that you now need to go reflect with. Okay. But after all that reflection, now it's time to figure out how to reclaim what was lost. We have to repair. And in that repair, you'll do some reclamation. But we don't want to do that. We don't want to reflect, repair, and reclaim. We just want the issue to disappear because we feel exposed. You're not supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to make mistakes. You tell this to your children, but you don't live that way yourself. That's an authentic issue. So when someone calls out something, or when someone calls you in on something you've said or done, it is not an attack. It is an invitation for you to grow. It is an invitation for your awareness to be expanded. That's something you thought was perfectly normal. Is it from many points of views? Do you want to just walk around with that delusion, or would you like an opportunity to change it? And so these people who are not silent, they are also gift bringers. That's what they do. And I'm not just saying that because I'm one of them and because you're one of them. But if you really think about it, the growth, the true growth that happened in your life, it happened because somebody pulled you to the side and said, baby, listen, I'll give you all a short little story. There's one time, I was in my early 20s. I'm working at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, and there's this older Black woman I work with. Shout out to you, Sheila Ray. And Sheila said, you're way too pretty and way too smart to be dressing like that. How was I dressing? That polo shirt and khakis. Okay, my autistic ass thought that was professional. By the end of the week, she had taken me shopping. I had A-line skirts, blazers, cashmere sweaters. And it's not that I didn't have the money to get it. I just didn't have the awareness. And sometimes it's someone actually calling you on your shit that allows you to be so much better and actually fill in the greatness that you're already exhibiting. So being called in or being called out is not an attack. It's an invitation for you to grow. But you'll always perceive it as an attack if you don't want to grow. If you would prefer to hide in your delusion, you're going to feel attacked. A real-time accountability is, to me, it's the opposite of a failing system. It's a working system because it's about showing up as your best self, even when it's uncomfortable. My best self is going to recognize that I made a mistake. I'm going to reflect. I'm going to repair, and I'm going to give that opportunity a chance to be reframed and reclaimed. I'm going to do that. That's my best self. In the moment, it's going to feel uncomfortable to know that I was wrong, bad, disrespectful, or whatever. But if I own that, then I can grow above it. But what I'm not going to do is accept somebody telling me that I'm bad because I called you out on some shit that you feel bad about. You don't feel bad about it, then you just ignore me. Because I'm not ever beating up the human being, but I'm always going to call out the failing system. And because failing systems are human made, well, I got to talk about a human every now and then. The human's going to be involved, but I'm never shaming the human. I'm like, let's beat up this failing system. We can't keep operating this way. It doesn't work. So even when it's uncomfortable, my encouragement to people is to take that real-time accountability and use it to show up as your best self. This is your opportunity. I don't know. What do you think about that? Fulei, the Resourceful Liberator. What's your feedback on that? Because I know you are all about oppression work and making sure we get to our liberation. I feel like a big part of anti-oppression work is calling people out, calling people in. And the fact that people are so resistant to that shows me how much people are resistant to the liberation that you are here to guide us into. And it just really pisses me off, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you dropped a whole lot of good gems, especially just the taking time to reflect, to be able to then repair so that restoration or the refrain can happen, right? And for me, those three R's basically land in the bucket of responsibility. I think that we as grown ass adults are having a problem with responsibility. We do not know how to distribute responsibility or how to understand what actually is our responsibility. Because the whole thing is this, it's not that there's a problem in awareness. People are aware of things, right? Like in the whole issue is that yes, there's some things that we lack awareness and, but for the sake of globalization, connectivity, there's a lot that we're aware of. And I think even some things that we don't want to be made aware of, right? There's just a lot happening. However, because of this, and because of the way And this is the other thing. The way anti-intellectualism is also being uplifted as well too within our spaces, within the culture. We do not want to sit when it comes down to responsibility. But this is the thing. This is actually connected directly to my work because this is erasure. This is an arm and a leg of erasure. And when we are not able to either understand what we're responsible for or understand who is responsible, what responsibility is mine, what responsibility is another party's, we're not going to be able to get to the point of accountability. Because in that responsibility era, in that specific arena, that's where victims get formed. And we have so come to a space where victimization is now like a space that we live in. And people love living in that space of victimization, right? So a common reaction is to silence the person calling out the problem rather than addressing the issue itself. That's where responsibility comes down to. So we either silence ourselves because we don't want to be made, on the other side, we don't want to be the victim, or we don't want people coming at us because you don't want to be villainized. That's really the issue. Like, that's the other side of it. It's two sides of the same coin. If there is a lack of responsibility, know that accountability cannot be there. If there is victimization, that also means then villainization is taking place. It's a swift two sides of the same coin. And that is the issue that we're having with a lot of people. People do not want to be responsible. But I'm also saying this for the sake of, because the way these systems have been set, the way that we are seeing people operating and moving, only a certain sect of people actually are held responsible. And we are held responsible for things that we are actually not responsible for. We have seen major corporations, we have seen different people. If you have the money, if you have the status, if you have the right color skin, the right hair texture, you look a certain way. If you align yourself with whiteness, let's just call a spade a spade. You are going to want to live in, and no, I'm not even going to put the word hood attached to it because I feel like hoods are too good. Okay. People like living in Victimville. That's what it is. So people are making homes in Victimville, and we have seen it happen over and over and over again, where people who are living in Victimville, you are living in a sense of delusion. Like, there's nothing wrong with actually saying I've been victimized. There's nothing wrong with that. That happens to everyone. We're all human. But when you decide to live in Victimville, it becomes problematic. And so now, for the person who's holding you responsible, they now become the villain. Like, make it make sense. Like, for real, right? Make it make sense. So I know, and I've been privy to this. I know all of us have been on this on both sides, but if we're serious about like really dismantling harmful systems, we have to sit with the discomfort and learn from it. We have to sit and understand what truly is my responsibility within this matter, within this situation. What is mine and what isn't mine? Because the other side is, for those that are becoming villainized, a lot of times responsibility, there is an overwhelming sense of responsibility placed on people that end up becoming the villains. And it's because it's a misbalance, a misdistribution in responsibility. Those that tend to be on the margins, that have multiple marginalized identities, and this can be a slew of things, okay? Whatever multiple marginalized identity that you have, and this is the thing, you have compounding marginalized identities, as well as like a gender expansiveness. You are the one to blame. You become the person to point the finger to blame. Then accountability cannot take place. But this is the thing: if you have been so indoctrinated and brought up within a system that does not ever hold you accountable, does not hold your parents accountable, did not hold your grandpappy and generations before accountable, and you've always literally, forgive my French for saying it like this, but you've literally been able to get away with murder. When someone then decides, especially if they have a marginalized identity, to hold you accountable, you're going to feel as though like this is death. And the reality is like, nah, boo, calm down. This is what actual accountability looks like. And it's called you're uncomfortable. It's called be uncomfortable. It's okay. It's not going to, I promise you, the discomfort, it's not going to kill you. This is an opportunity for you to grow. But many times people don't want to grow. They don't want to grow. They'd rather just sit there and be the victims. And I'm saying this in a very specific moment because let's be honest as well too, right now within pop culture, there's a whole lot of stuff going on and people are trying to blame people for this and that, my simple take is this, and I will expand on this later on my platform. If you have no stake and you have no resonance with what the issue is that is going on at hand, I need you to be quiet. This is not your stage to speak on, because that is how erasure continues to happen. When everyone and their mama feels like they have something to contribute, they must speak about a thing. They can't sit in the discomfort that, boo, you're not being centered here. Calm down, relax. It is okay that you are not being centered in this situation. It is okay, because what you're doing when you speak out like that, you're drowning out the voices that actually need to be heard. This is another form of like, everyone needs to say something. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to be the responsible. No, you're getting in the way. Shush. Honestly, shush.
Shush.
Yes. I think like we need to be quiet at times. And I'm not saying it because, yes, within, a lot of our humanist and social justice spaces, you need to be seen, you need to be heard. And you should demand that. I get that. But there are also points and times where you have to understand what is yours to speak on and what is yours not to.
I love that distinction of, what did you say? Do you have a stake? So the stake would be synonymous with like lived experience. Like, do you, in this conversation, right? Everybody's talking about the Met Gala. I'm not into fashion. I have nothing to say. I just be like, oh, and keep scrolling. You know what I'm saying? All the think pieces about it. I'm like, oh, not my lane. I think there's something beautiful about that. But I 100% agree with you that almost everything I have had to speak about as a failing system, that people are really upset about me doing that. I'm not going to stay silent when I see a failing system, but you're getting this real-time accountability because you did not have a stake in this conversation, but you jumped in it. You were clear on your opinion, but you didn't have clarity on the insight you were bringing to the conversation. In fact, you don't even have clarity on what the conversation is about. So I don't even understand why you're sharing your opinion. And I think people really conflate, I have a clear opinion versus I have clarity on this subject. Because it goes back to what you were saying, the death of intellectualism. Like, when someone is in that space of intellectualism about something, whether you want to call them an expert, a guru, or whatever, they have a stake. They put themselves on the front line for this for years, if not decades. And so they've seen so many different iterations of it that they have so much knowledge and wisdom to bring to the table about it that can be flexed depending upon the situation. So when you come across someone like that and you add your clear opinion, you're going to get read for filth. So you're saying shush because you're respectable. You got respect. You have that coos that I don't have. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, nobody needed that in this conversation. Like, you really just threw some pennies on the table when we trying to make $1 million deals. Shut the fuck up. I don't even know why they let you in the room. Oh, because you were supposed to learn from what's happening in this room. You're supposed to sit the fuck down. And this is not an age thing. This is not a gender thing. This is not a race thing. This is, you don't have a nickel in this quarter, but you want so badly to be centered. And this is because we're not good to humans. So we're not centering people in other ways. So people feel the need to get it through an opinion. And those dopamine hits be the only thing that people got, because they don't got joy. They don't have purpose. They don't have a mission that they're on. Their mission is to be a terror out here on these internet streets. So when somebody like me is like, I want to know what made you think that was okay. I really do. I want to know what made you think that is okay, and explain yourself. Well, yeah, I'm going to put this on blast too, because I think this is an opportunity for everybody to learn.
Say that.
You can call me whatever you want. You're going to be mad. I'm going to do it. But maybe you should have blocked me. And that's what I said when we first started, right? Because I can't speak on what I see. But guess what? I am not the only intellectual that is going to actually not take your opinion as face value facts when we are operating with facts.
Absolutely.
So you can't block every intellectual. Somebody's going to read you for filth. And that's what this conversation is about. It's about, when that happens, how do you know when to shush? Instead of trying to silence the party that is telling you about yourself. Where is the space to shush and reflect? Or, like I said, sit the fuck down and sit in your lap. It's the same thing.
She's raw. I love it.
I'm just saying.
I mean, it's absolutely true, though, with what you're saying. Like, there needs to be, the thing is this, there does need to be space to sit down and reflect. However, the issue when it comes down to being called in, right? Because this is the thing. I don't even think that a lot of this stuff is just like, oh, we just calling you out. We just calling you out. I think a lot of it is like, people are actually calling people in for the sake of dialogue. There is a difference when people are calling you in and just calling you out. A lot of times when you're just being called out, there is no room for dialogue. But I would really hope that we're in a place where when people are pointing these issues out, it's because they're calling you in. They're saying, hey, wake up. There's a problem here. How you're moving, whatever you're doing, it's actually problematic. For me, in my world, I would say, like, hey, what you're doing, you don't know that you're causing harm right now. You're causing a lot of harm. I know it seems unintentional. I know you probably don't know better, but if we calling you in, you're causing, bottom line, you are causing harm. I need you to sit down, because what you don't know is that, yes, your words is being wielded like a weapon. Yes, your reactions are being wielded like weapons. You over here trying to just ginsu people up, and you talking about, oh, but I had no idea. I bet you had no idea. Okay, whiteness teaches you that. Let's just be very honest. Right, to the things that you do so naturally that are causing harm to other people. Really, if anything, be grateful. Oh my gosh, like I really want to say, it's like, be grateful. Be grateful to your ancestors, to whatever God you believe in, except for that white supremacist Jesus or whoever that is that they believe. Not that. I'm just saying, whatever. But understand it to a point of like, be grateful, because it means that someone actually cares. And that's the problem with the whole not understanding or differentiating sitting in discomfort or being uncomfortable. It's not because someone's over here just trying to make you feel horrible about your life. They're literally calling you in because they're saying, actually, I believe that you can do better. This is my way of saying, hey, let me present you some new information so you can do better. But when people start doubling down, that's when it's just like, nah, we don't have time for it. And yes, we need to let go of this silence. It's for us here. It isn't about perfection. Like you're not supposed to be perfect. You're human. You're gonna make up. You're gonna make mistakes. Like you're gonna fuck up. How, for you to ever think that you're gonna be perfect, there's a whole lot of work that you need to do. And I can point you to some people, but I'm not the one. Okay. So, but yeah, perfectionism ain't it. That's not what we're aiming for. We're aiming so that we can be able to actually have dialogue, so that you can correct yourself. It's the same way with each and every single one of us. And it's what I'm saying, it's the same way for each of us as well. There have been times in our lives that we have been called in and even called out. There's a lot that has happened. But for those that are willing to actually sit in like the messiness of being human, you get to grow. And you also get to see someone that you probably didn't see before, because you were just sitting here, just straight erasing people, not even know it. Like you actually get to see, oh shit, there's a human being here. Yes, there is a whole ass human being here. Complex human being. Just as complex as you are, there is someone else on the other side that is just as complex. And we need to be able to honor the humanity of that. That is progress. That is what that looks like. That's what real change actually requires. Owning. And I don't even say responses, it's owning your reactions. People want to own their responses, but they don't want to own their reactions. They don't want to own when they went off the handle or when they were just like being extremely manipulative. Like they don't want to own when they fucked up. We don't want to do that because we've been taught through this super white lens. Everything has to be veneered. It needs to be this glossy, like super polished, like there's no imperfection. That's not life, y'all. That is not life. And it's not life in business. It is not life in your personal life. It is not life with your family. That is not life even with your own self. We messy bitches out here. Okay. And I think it is okay to say so. It is okay to be messy. Own it. That's what makes us real. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us authentic. It's not about shifting the blame or the burden. And the thing is we are in a time where I'm hoping, I'm seeing it, but I am hoping more of us, especially those of us who embody multiple marginalized identities and or genders, it's time to speak the fuck up. Stop letting people sit on you. Stop letting people just talk ever which way about you. For real, for real. It's time. You know discomfort personally. Your life has shown you discomfort in multiple ways. You may be listening to this right now and not feel comfortable and be in discomfort for whatever reasons. You know it personally. Trust me and believe. A lot of times the people that are on the side don't. And we are giving them the benefit of a doubt. Oh, well, no, they don't. Because look at the way you respond. Because of the amount of discomfort that you've had to go through in your life, you respond very, very differently. Take those as cues. Take those as learning instances of like, this is information that is turned into knowledge and you can use it for wisdom. You know what that is. So I think it's time for us to actually speak up and not give leeway to people doing this, because if you give leeway, you're allowing for erasure to happen. And I don't want you erased. You don't deserve to be erased. Everything is set about here for us to be erased. We see what's happening, right? So, but that's also the thing that then helps for repair, like Ebony said, right? We can then move into that space of actually repairing if we sit with ourselves, if we understand that this discomfort is actually, it's not going to kill me. It's trying to tell me something. It is a messenger. What is the message? Shout out to the Ratchet Sage for teaching me that. But for real, it's like, what is the message? That's just, the discomfort is just a messenger. Your emotions are messengers. You may have a hell of a lot of messengers running up and down the highways. But if you don't take a moment to sit, just to chill, to figure out what are all these messengers, what are they trying to point to? What are they trying to say? It's trying to say something. And I'm saying, for me, in my work, in my world, a lot of time it's trying to tell you that, hey, erasure's happening right here. Hey, it's present. Oh, you see the heart? It's ever present. We need to put a full stop. A red light needs to go. We need to put some railroad tracks or something to stop it in the midst of it happening. That's what it's saying for me in my world. And that's what I'm trying to get others to know as well, too, is like, no, something is taking place. You don't like it. It's not feeling good. And not feeling good isn't just the discomfort. It's not feeling good as though, like, no, there's an attack happening. There's a difference between discomfort and being attacked. We can figure that out as we move along, right? But there is a difference between discomfort and being attacked. And I think we need to be able to learn to sit. And we need a lot of our counterparts to learn to sit in discomfort and learning how to shush, listen, for real listen, especially if you're being called in, which is, it's a form of love. You're being corrected. I mean, and truth be told, the people that are like usually calling y'all in or whatever else, you don't deserve their love. I'm just going to say that. You really don't. You really don't.
I think you brought up so many really good points. My brain is trying to like wrap around all of them. One of the things that yes, there's like two sides of this. There's the silence for the people who are being called in and called out so that they can have the chance to truly choose to reflect. So there has to be that pause. If your immediate reaction is, I'm being attacked, and then to like defend yourself and to get into that defensive state, then there's no chance for reflection. There's just no space for it. You've got that fork in the road. When the call in or the call out happened, you had an opportunity to sit with it and figure out what the real messenger was, because it wasn't the person who called you out. That's not the messenger. And it wasn't what they said. That wasn't the messenger either, or the message. It's what you're feeling in that moment, which you'll never capture if you don't give yourself that silence, right? And so when I think through to some of the things I'm the most proud about who I am as a human, like who I am, who I be as a human, those things came from somebody calling me out and being like, bitch, or like literally pulling me to the side and being like, first of all, I don't know why you think that shit's okay. And me being like, well, you know, my autistic ass. I'm like, well, and I explain it. Like, there's a reason why I thought that was okay. But I can also hear it because I'm open and I'm not egocentric. And it's not all about me. I'm not the only fucking human on this planet. So when you tell me from your point of view, what you saw was this. So you understand that I was trying to do A, B, C, but what actually ended up happening from your point of view was X, Y, Z. If I can sit from my point of view and go, I didn't want you to have X, Y, Z, there's an opportunity for me to reflect on what can I do next time to not provide that. Even though I was trying for ABC, I must have missed the mark because what they received was X, Y, Z. It doesn't mean that I was trying to do X, Y, Z. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. And so hopefully, yes, you were called in and called out with love, meaning someone was willing to go back and forth to you in the comments and explain and share. Some people are willing to do the labor and put in a video, right? So people are willing to send you to resources. That's one type of silence. The other type of silence is, you know, I'm being silenced because I know something needs to be said. I'm afraid to say it. I'm sitting in the boardroom and they ain't treating LaQuisha right, our new director. They don't give her the same responsibilities, the same resources, the same that all the other directors get. And you see it happening, you don't say nothing. Silenced. We can't fix what's wrong and hold people accountable if people are silent who see what's wrong. But when you realize that someone is telling you, you might have done something wrong, it's an opportunity for you to, this is, you know, I'm not a fan of shame. I'm not a fan of shame because I don't think anybody should ever feel bad about who they are. I do think
Never.
that you should feel bad about shit you've done. I think guilt is healthy. I don't think you should live in guilt. I don't think you should sit in guilt, just like you shouldn't sit in victimhood. I think it's valid to recognize when you've been victimized. But do we want to sit in that? Is that a way to live? I don't think so. I think that's a failing system. So when I think about the silencing of people who have an opportunity to create change, I think that harms all of humanity. And I think when you refuse silence, when it's your opportunity to be called in and called out, that too hurts all of you. We didn't get your best self. The universe tried to birth it in that moment, and you said no. It's like ancestors in the universe coming to your door and knocking. Hello? Yeah, we have your best self here. Would you like it? And you said, hell no, I want to be this funky ass person I was yesterday. Oh, I'm trying to understand why that makes sense. But people do this when they move straight into defensiveness instead of taking an opportunity to sit with that discomfort, like you said, so that they can learn from it. You don't sit with it, you can't learn from it. So I love that. There's like just two sides of this silence, right? But I also think I also think that one of the things that you were saying is that, when people are coming out with these, first of all, there's the awareness and the responsibility element to accountability. I don't think people, I'm looking forward to you unpacking that a little bit more on your platform so that I can send a couple people those links, because that's something that people are really missing. And I think that's why accountability feels like an attack. They never felt responsible for being a good human being in the fucking first place, nor were they given the awareness on what that looks like. It has not been modeled. So when someone shows up and says, listen, I care about you, and my work, I believe we be before we do. So if I'm seeing something in your sayings and what you do, how you're moving in these streets, if I see something in that is harmful to humans, I know that there's a part of you and who you be that thinks this is okay. Yeah. Yeah. And so while I can't speak to who you be, because that's not my business, that's yours. It's your journey to take. What I can speak to is what I see you out here doing in these streets, because we all supposed to say something if we see something, right? And so when I say something about what I see you doing in these streets, or what I saw you saying to somebody else, or how I see you moving in your business is predatory, I'm going to say something to you directly. And if your pop off is, bitch, don't come at me. Okay, well, first of all, you came at yourself. You came at yourself when you came through with that energy, with that being, with that doing, and you thought it was okay. You did this to yourself. And I am never going to feel bad about that. That's not going to induce guilt or shame. I need everybody to understand it. So again, like I said in the beginning, block me. That's your best avenue at this point. If I don't see it, I can't speak on it. Because when I see it and it's raggedy and I speak on it, if your response is, fuck you, bitch, guess what? Well, fuck you. I think the whole world needs to see your response to this. You're proud of it, right? You are proud of this. This is what you think is okay out here in these streets, right? Then why are we hiding from it? And for me to hold on, let's pull it up, because I am that asshole today. Let's pull it up, because I'm not going to show it to people. We're not going to talk about who said it, right? But this happened just yesterday. I said what I said in some comments. Y'all go to my LinkedIn today and you'll see the post. You'll also see my entire systems rant about it. I invite y'all to go through that. But when I get a message that says, hi, I managed to see the video. Oh, because yes, I did have to Loom video. There was too much to say. I couldn't type it all in the comments. So I had to do a Loom video and drop that in the comments. So y'all can see all of it in the systems rant. It's there for you. But I managed to see the video CC and I could read your words. So for some reason, this person could not hear the audio. Probably best because of what they about to say. This is verbatim, y'all. I swear I'm quoting. Not gonna screenshot. Y'all can see that in the systems rant. But I am not used to being talked to like this, actually. It is a bit embarrassing. I certainly don't want that link and video floating around LinkedIn with my name attached. I hope you might delete it. I can certainly say or do what you feel is appropriate for me to do that, for that to happen. Thank you for considering. I ain't gonna take y'all through everything I said because y'all can see it in the systems ring, but I need y'all to understand that you could just shut the fuck up. Like when I mean that. And this is what happens when you don't have clarity about the conversation you're entering in, nor do you have clarity about the people who are already in the conversation before you join, nor do you have clarity about what insights you're bringing to the conversation, because it's not insights, you got an opinion. You can't have clarity on an opinion.
Say that again, please. Say that
you
again.
You can only be clear in your opinion. That's what you save that for friends. You save that for the group chat. I got opinions on all kind of stuff. I'm never going to say them on social media. You hear me saying something on social media, I'll argue with you about it for 8 hours, 10 days. I got it. I got the width, I got the depth, I got the breadth, because I said it, I meant it, because that's my work. Intellectualism.
Talk about.
I don't talk about stuff that's outside of my lane. That I'll send you to somebody. But like, you came to me as my client. I came to you as a client too. Yes. Let's just talk about it. Why are we each other's coaching client? But anyway, so you came to me as a client and you had some questions about your brand. What did I say? I'm gonna need you to go see the Ghetto Country Grandmother. That's who helps me with mine. So anything I could ever pass off to you, I don't learn from her. You might as well go get it from the well and get the bespoke strategy for you. Absolutely. I got the bespoke strategy for me. Why I want less for you than what I got for me? I don't. So I'm gonna send you to that well. You know what other people do? Oh yeah, I know everything about brand strategy, girl. So here, sign up for this new program. Try to get some more money from you. That's predatory. let me not digress. I think oftentimes we get defensive because we don't want to believe we're in a space that we shouldn't be. I think the defensiveness comes from recognizing I am in over my head and I never thought there would be a place that I would be. Ego. Oh, sit in it. Sit in it. That you never expected to not know what the fuck you're talking about, but you said something. This happens actually more often than anyone could ever imagine. And it's better to check yourself before somebody else check you. Black folks said that in the 80s and the 90s. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. They said it. It's a thing. It's still a thing. As long as humanity is around, it's going to be a thing. Okay? And for some reason, people have decided that the best response when I did not check myself, so I have wrecked myself, that the best response is to be defensive and try to wreck you or erase that it all happened. The deleting of the post, and I never said that, but somebody got the screenshot. I love it. It's delicious and authentic ashiness. The solution to that is moving past the defensiveness. And sometimes to do that, you got to sit in that discomfort, sit in that silence. How do we do that? And I think it first starts with recognizing if I don't like what I'm doing, whether I called it out or someone else called it out or someone called me in, does it matter? You still don't like what you're doing. Then that is a reflection of something you be that you don't like. You know who can only change who you be? You. Every opportunity that you call yourself in or call yourself out, that someone else calls you in or calls you out, it is an opportunity for you to grow. And if you acknowledge that growth will often feel like discomfort, then you will spend the time listening, reflecting, and taking actionable steps to change who you be that thought that was fucking okay to do, say, move like that. We don't show up in spaces doing certain things because we didn't bring that to the space. You be before you do. You show up as you are, and then you start saying shit. You start doing shit. You start engaging with people, but you showed up as you are. So if someone calls out something and you're not proud of it, address that so you can grow. You will not get to the reflection, the repair, so that you can reframe and get into some new reclamation of whatever was going on. You will not get there if you cannot listen. And the listening gets blocked because what people hear is, I'm attacking you, you're bad. No. How about what you said was harmful? How about what you did was not useful in the space? How about that? That's it. I didn't even say anything about you. I talked about what you said and what you did because that's actually the only thing I can touch. I cannot reach into your body, into your spirit, and pull out your soul. I don't know what your being is. You do. So if I say something that makes you feel some type of way about something I saw you do, something I saw you say, something I saw you, how you engage with another human being, guess what? That's your wake up call. You cannot heed it. What you can never do is shame you for sharing it. I loved you enough to share it without even knowing you, usually in these internet streets. I'm never going to feel bad about that. Absolutely never. And I'm never going to feel bad about wanting people to have the space, the actionable, safe space. Bring your ass to have that actionable, safe space to take the steps that it takes for them to be who they want to be so that they can actually choose what they want to say and do instead of operating in delusions, reacting from that space of delusion so that when somebody popped that bubble, now they're bad. No, maybe you needed to breathe and they wanted to give you some oxygen. That's all I'm saying. But I don't know how you feel about what does it take for people to move past this defensiveness or this immediate defensive reaction? Because I think it's inauthentic and ashy as hell. And that's my lotion for it. Focus on the being. You'll get to the doing if you focus on the fact that the being needs to up level. That's all. The being needs to up level, and that's being evidenced, it's being showcased in the shit that you're out here doing that you think is okay. Because if you stop and think about it, you really don't think it's okay, or you wouldn't be embarrassed, or you wouldn't be trying to hide it, or you wouldn't feel a need to be defensive. That's all I'm saying. Call a thing a thing, make it make sense. 1 + 1 is 1, right?
Absolutely. Like, whew, first of all, you dropped some really good things. And I just wanted to make sure I was taking some notes because I hope y'all been taking notes as well too. Because you can take this with you, right? You can take this to go. But now, like hearing what you were saying with that, like because all of this is we're still talking about the anonymity, the myth of anonymity. That's what all of this discomfort, but because people feel as though they can be keyboard warriors and as though like IP addresses don't get traced back to people. And as though there aren't coders out here who know how to dig into back ends, and there aren't researchers out here that know how to find where you work at or to Like doxing is a real thing, right? And again, if someone's calling you in, please understand all of those options were available. All of those options are available. And I think people become so quick to forget all of those options are always available because we are so connected. So if you're out here deciding to be a keyboard warrior so boldly with your name, putting it out on these platforms, and you think you can talk to anyone just any which way, any which how, you are believing the delusion, literally the delusion for the myth of, of anonymity. But where is that birth from? That's birthed from the system of erasure. It's absolutely birthed from it. It's birthed from it because you believe that you are either so big, so grand, so whatever, that you can just talk to anyone however you want to via these internet streets and not have any repercussions for your actions. We forget universal law. Universal law literally says what comes up, what goes up must come down, right? That's the law of gravity. So yes, what you throw out there at some point in time is going to come back to you. So I would hope people would be a little bit more like people would be better about what they're putting out there, because the myth of anonymity also says, well, even if I put this out here, it'll never be traced to me, number one, or two, like no one can ever bring this up ever again, or if it gets deleted, it's never there. Please understand, y'all, whatever you put out on the internet, it is there forever and ever and ever. And let the church say amen. Okay, like it is there. It is always there. Just because you don't see it today does not mean that it cannot be brought up. And so something that keeps me, right? But it's also because I'm a mindful person and I think about shit before I actually just spewing it type thing. I was taught to think through things. I was taught to be a critical thinker and to think about the ramifications of the things that it is that we're doing. And especially, let's add this, if you are in a multiply marginalized body, you are very quick to think about these repercussions because you know what it's going to affect with you. And you're not just trying to have your livelihood affected. There's already a lot that's already causing effects within your life that you did not necessarily cause. So we are quick to have to process, to sit with and be like, okay, so what's the backlash going to be? Like, if I do this, like, what's the boomerang that's going to happen? And I don't have to wait until the great beyond to figure that out. I'm here. I'm alive in this flesh, in this body, and there are repercussions, real repercussions to what people are doing. And so I think about the idea of like, yeah, whatever you're putting out here in the internet, it may be your truth right now, today, but think about it 20 years down the line. You're going to have people learning about you and the way you truly are. How are you trying to show up? How are you showing up even in these internet streets? Is it really true to who you are? Is it? Like, are we really understanding that in 20 years, 20, 30 plus years, that they will be able to dig into these back ends, that the way technology is now is going to be so much further gone that they can pick up these things that we've been taught. We're kind of in that middle part of like this modern age of technology. This is still the middle. We have not, there is no arrival. We have not arrived. Please understand, technology is going to still do what it does. And we are so much further along acceleration in such a smaller period of time. So think about 20, 30 years from now. Do you really want it picked up on platforms or back in the day that you were there in someone's DM, that you were in a Black woman autistic's DM asking her to delete some shit that you said out of pocket because you said, I've never been talked to like that? Who is that actually saying more about? Is it saying more about the person you DM'd or the person that said, can we sit with that? Why? And why do you feel the need to put that level of responsibility on said person? Shouldn't you have actually taken that responsibility to, before you put something out there, to think about what it is that you were going to say? This is where, for me, the erasure comes in. And this is where, when you were talking about the silence, and you actually, and we differentiated, there are different types of silence. Not all silence is the same, but this is that type of silence where we take hits all the time because we have people DMing us. We have people putting death threats out because we dare to say the contrarian thing, not just to be contrary, but the truthful thing that is contrarian, that may be antithetical to the things that we have learned, because we dare say that. These are the things happening in our inbox. And the erasure isn't just your silence of you erasing yourself. The erasure is literally you being erased from whatever spaces and places you are in. It is a both and. You are being erased and they're actively erasing you. Why play into the hand of erasure at all, is what I'm saying. Why cause yourself more harm? Because what are we trying to protect here? You don't know that person from Adam, okay? You don't know that person. Like Kiki Palmer said, I don't know that man. Sorry for that man. I don't know you. So why do I feel the need to protect you? And I think those are the deeper questions that we need to ask ourselves as to why we're not speaking up about things. Yes, be mindful and definitely count the cost, okay? Because there is a cost to speaking up. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like there isn't. There is. Count the cost. But I think this is also the beautiful part of why there's community. Because if you have community and you know you can't be the one to speak up, maybe one of your homegirls, maybe one of your homeboys, maybe there's someone in your group who can be like, I got you, let's go. I can risk this. I can
There is
speak up
always a
on your
ratchet sage in the group. Okay, you can
thank
always call
you.
us. We will come
Thank
through
you.
to Nook and Buck. Okay,
Look,
like all the
we
time.
here
We like it.
we here
It's
for it.
fun.
We here. So be mindful of that type of stuff. But like, yeah, anonymity, you're not safe. And so I love the tick up. I love the receipts. I do. I love people coming with the receipts. I love technology because y'all keep forgetting time stamped and dated was built into the technology, y'all. Yes, that can even be fucked with on some level, but the majority of the time, people ain't really going that deep into the timestamp and dates. Text messages are used in the court of law now. I need for us to understand. Text messages are used as proof material, character witness material in the court of law. So LinkedIn posts, Instagram posts, IG posts, all these posts that you throwing out, all of that can be used. How are you showing up? How are you showing what? And are you erasing yourself without even knowing that you're playing into the hand of this as well too? And so for the defensiveness, I would actually say that the flip side of that is that when people are getting defensive, yes, you're understanding that, hey, there's a mirror here showing you something about yourself. But the antidote to that is actually curiosity. Instead of being defensive, be curious. My coach taught me I had to learn to be curious, to ask questions, not to assume shit, but to actually go in and genuinely ask questions. So if you want to look for like, well, what's an antidote so that I'm not out here just reactive out all in these internet streets and stuff? Are you being curious? And curiosity means that there are multiple things happening at the same time. You have to suspend your judgment in order to be curious. And that means you actually have to put yourself almost into a space of empathy to ask questions from their perspective. Can you do that? So, yes, there is a suspense of judgment, but then there's also a space of empathy of like, well, how would it feel? Okay, so if I was in their position, have I had this, or even have I ever had this happen to me before? How did I feel when this happened? I didn't like it. I didn't like what, okay. So then why would you dish it out? And a lot of people out here dishing out shit that they cannot take. And those of us that are out here that know how to dish it and take it, look, we will stand 10 toes down on something. And this is the reason why we could say we will stand 10 toes down. I will die on this hill. You have to trust us. Those of us who are speaking from those spaces, that means we've been processing and practicing and dealing with real, it's a both and. We have a practice of this. This isn't just hearsay. This isn't, we're just not talking for the sake of talking. And let me also clarify, when we are talking about intellectuals and intellectualism, this is not about having educated gang signs, okay? That's not what this is. If you have them, I do, God bless, cool. But this is not what the intellectualism is, because I could quickly hear people wanting to go into that very hierarchy and elitist type of it, like, oh, well, you must have the degrees. This ain't about degrees. Intellectualism is about you actually taking the time to process, to be educated, whether you are an independent scholar, whether you are doing it in academia, outside of academia, in your real life, having the lived experience, right? Having that. Shout out to Grandma with the 3 E's, because those are the things that will keep you in this way. So when we're talking about intellectualism, from her framework, it is your lived experience, your expertise, and your education. Your education doesn't mean that you graduated from college. That's not what that is. Where were you educated? Because a lot of us, some people were educated in the streets of life. Some people were educated in these international streets. Some people were educated on bridges. Some were in hoods, some were in rural towns where where you, it's not about the, again, it's not about the degrees. So I don't want you to take that word intellectualism and start trying to like whip it about and be like, see, no, they're elite. Nah, calm down, calm down. We're not here to erase anyone. Okay, that's not what this is. I ain't about erasure, so why would I be, a propagator of it? I'm not going to. But those are the things that are important. So yes, with your defensiveness, become curious. And if you cannot become curious, you need to do some work, go find some helping professionals and go check yourself. For real, do that. I feel like that's what it takes for us to work through being able to be called in, to being called out, to being able to be corrected and growth. That's where growth happens as well, too. To not point at the person who was saying something, but to really figure out what is the message? How does this make sense for me? What is it saying to me in my world, to my being in that manner, and to sit in the discomfort of it all? Yeah, for those of us who we do not have lived experience in certain arenas or whatever else, sit in that discomfort. It doesn't mean that you actually need to go gain experience in that arena. Not all arenas do you need to gain experience in, but you can sit in the discomfort of, I'm not an expert in this space. Good for you. I'm glad. You know what? Kudos, because you're understanding where you're understanding the limitations that you have. And we all have them. And we need to stop playing like we don't. You don't need to know everything, just like you don't need to experience everything. But you can suspend your judgment. Be curious, sit in this discomfort, learn something, and grow. You can. So that's what I got. How about you?
I think intellectualism has nothing to do with education. I think it has more to do with, again, you're not going to be an intellectual if you're bringing opinions to the conversation. You're bringing clarity and all the things that clarity births: audacity, confidence, different bespoke applications. So you have the theory mixed with practice, but the theories are applicable in certain instances. If you do it in this instance, then it's different. And you do it in this instance, it's different. And so the application is different. If who are you dealing with? Who is involved, what's the environment, all of these things pop up. And to me, that's what intellectualism is about. I don't have educated gang signs. I went to high school and I've been in these streets ever since. And I think people always are wondering, where did you get your PhD? Where did you get your MBA? And I think that's hilarious every time I'm asked, because it's saying something. I'm gonna let people figure out what that means themselves. I know what it means for me. At the end of the day, intellectualism is about how much did you actually apply what you know. But a big part of that is how much did you sit in what you didn't know to figure out what you could know. And I think a lot of people are not willing to be called in. They're not willing to be called out. They're willing to dish out a call in or a call out, but they don't really want to be called in. We got people calling out and canceling celebrities for shit that they do every day in their damn life. And I am just kind of, it's ick at this point. And I'm going to keep calling it out. I'm going to keep speaking on it, because it's these things that lead to larger system failures. When you think it's okay to go back and forth with a Black woman about something that's evident, when you think it's okay to dissuade your conversation from the real point to a point that makes you more comfortable in your own skin, those are the same types of people that will allow homeless people to die in a city while they create new developments for $3,000, $4,000 a month studios that no one's going to live in. It's the same kind of faulty, failed thinking, because it all comes from the same addiction to failing systems. And it ends up resulting in the system of erasure that we see, that you talk about all the time. It creates an incredible amount of oppression for all people involved. I hate it. And I really appreciate these conversations. I think this might be kind of the birth of what Fulei and I've been talking about, this opportunity for us to like get together and talk to people about things. We think we're going to call it the Ratcheted and the Resourceful. So y'all can let us know how y'all feel about that when we drop this video. But I think that's really what these conversations are going to be about. She and I have these conversations in private all the time, because we just go there and we're not afraid to have these conversations. But we thought some of these we need to bring to y'all. And I don't think we should just be having them by ourselves. And we're always open to hearing other people's perspectives and what they're thinking about it. So one, we appreciate y'all joining us today in this video, and being part of hearing the start of this important conversation, because we're going to be doing a live follow-up event, where we'll dive even deeper into what this conversation means for you. We want to hear from y'all. We'd like to open the floor to your questions, your stories, and hear your perspectives on this, because truthfully, we're sharing ours, but what's yours? Your We don't want you to be silent. We want to hear what you have to say about this so that you can hold some people accountable, whether it's in retrograde or come work with us in the live session to figure out what you're going to do for future to hold some folks accountable. And how do you sit in your own accountability when someone that you do respect who's bringing something, even if you don't respect them, if they're bringing something to you that's valuable and that represents the type of person you want to be, how do you stand in that accountability? How do you navigate it? We're going to be talking about that together in this live event, and I look forward to seeing y'all there. Like, what do you have to say about the live event before we close out of this video?
Ooh, I'm loving it. First of all, yes to these conversations because I mean, you're absolutely right. We've been having these conversations. I can literally say for years. We have been having them for a few years behind the scenes and finally decided like, hey, we want to bring them forward and have other people join in because yes, it's fun for you and I to pontificate and talk and, all the other types of stuff as well too, right? Like bring in the big SAT words, but then be like, bitch, look, come on. Like this is the reason why it's the ratcheted and the resourceful. But we also wanted to bring these conversations forward because we're just like, yo, we like to go where other people are not willing to go. I'm the type of person, I'm not going to gloss over conversations. I'm not going to gloss over points, like very glaring points that are causing major harm just because it's status quo and everyone else wants to. If you ask my family, they know me. I've never been that person. I like bringing these conversations and like bringing the nuance into it because I feel like that's what's really missing. Like we're missing with this whole wave of anti-intellectualism, with everyone feeling that they have a right to say anything, with people who do not have the experience, the gravitas, the weight at all to bring into these things are the ones that are taking up the space on these streets. And I'm just like, yo, let's take up space and let's really have some conversations. Because I know that there are people out here having these conversations. It's not just you and me. There are other people out here because I be talking to them as well too. And so let's make this happen, right? Let's call out the things that are happening. Let's call in folks. Let's have a protected space. I don't ever say the word safe because I cannot create safety for you, but we can have protected spaces, protected containers where we respect each other because both you and I are humanists. You are a zero fucks humanist. I come from the lens of like, I'm a liberation strategist that is a fucking humanist as well, too. Right. So, like, we come from conversations, we come from two different angles, but we always end up in the same space. And I love that. I absolutely love that. So, I'm hoping for those that are listening, like, we want to hear from you. We want your experiences with accountability and how you've navigated the discomfort when it shows up, how you've navigated these situations. Are you someone who is prone to respond or react? And if you have grown or changed, like what has made the difference? Like what tools have you used? Because not all of us have the same tools. We're not all using the same things, but like what tools have you used that, you know what, you may want to pass on to someone else as well too? Because I'm all about the resources. I'm all about us being able to get resource so that we can really truly move towards our liberation. But without them resources, yo, it makes it a lot harder. So we want your conversation. We welcome it. We are, and this is the thing. We also welcome the pushback. We're not telling everyone to agree with us on every single bit and thing. That's not what this is. We have no problem agreeing to disagree. Like that's not, we're not here to change people's minds. You need to think like us. That's not it. We need different people's perspectives. So show yourselves. But at the same time, we don't want the trolls. Come for us and we will come for you. It's just that simple. We do not have the time. So we want that. We want you to have these conversations with us. And so we want you to register for this live event to join us in real time. And the registration information will be put in the description down below so that you know what date, what time, how to find us, how to register. Because if you are not registered, I'm sorry, you cannot enter in. Remember, I said protected spaces. We do not play about that over here. Okay. So, but that's what we're going to want for you as well, too. So I'm looking forward to the next conversation. I'm looking forward to people registering to come join the event so that we can unpack more of these. And we're looking to see what topics, because, we can always come up with stuff. Trust, we have 1,000,001 in our bags, but we want to keep them relevant as well, too. So let us know. And I'm passing that back to you, Ratcheted.
So we're going to be doing this live event. It's going to be called Navigating and Activating Real-Time Accountability. We're going to do that on Monday, May 19th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be doing it again here on Riverside, but you will be here with us. There'll be a little square with your picture. Your amazingness will be here to come share your insights, share your stories, ask your questions, get support in community, meet some amazing folks. and come parlay and hang out with the Ratchet Sage and the Resourceful Liberator at the Ratcheted and Resourceful. It's important. Being ratcheted, all that means is that you are aligned in a specific direction for a specific reason. And I want that for everybody. And while you're aligned for that specific reason and in that specific direction, let's make sure you got some resources along the way. So each of these little conversations is just going to help us get you there. Okay. But also allow us to meet some amazing people that are aligned with us. This is not going to be a sales thing. This is a free registration, and we look forward to seeing you on Monday night, my time. Anyway, so come join us, come hang out with us, and come have a conversation with the Ratcheted and the Resourceful. And I guess that's how we can close this out. Peace.
Yeah.